Once upon a time, in a quiet little village surrounded by green fields and tall trees, there lived two brothers, Raman and Somu. Raman, the elder one, was clever and cunning. Somu, the younger, was kind-hearted and innocent. Their father was a simple, hard-working man who owned only a few things: a cow, a mango tree, a cot, and a warm blanket. He loved both his sons deeply and always told them, "Share what you have and you'll never be poor." After their father passed away, Raman said, "Somu, let's divide what father left us. Since there's only one of each, I'll suggest a fair way to share them." Somu, being innocent, agreed. Raman smiled cunningly and said, "The cow has two parts, the front and the back. You can take the front part and I'll keep the back. The mango tree, you can have the lower part and I'll take the upper part. And the cot and blanket, you can use them during the day and I'll use them at night." Somu nodded, trusting his brother completely. From the very next day, Raman's greed began to show. Since he owned the back part of the cow, he took all the milk, saying, "The milk comes from my part." Poor Somu had to feed and clean the cow every day, but never got a single drop of milk. When the mango tree bore fruit, Raman climbed up and took all the mangoes. He sold them in the village market and kept all the money. He even sold the cow's milk every morning, earning well while Somu quietly struggled to buy food for himself. At night, Raman took the blanket and slept comfortably on the cot, leaving Somu to shiver on the cold floor. Somu endured everything silently, until one day he met his father's old friend, a wise old man who lived in the same village. The old man listened to everything and smiled gently. "Somu," he said, "your brother may be clever, but now it's time you become wise. Do what I tell you." The next morning, Somu stopped feeding the cow. He didn't give her any food or water. When Raman came to milk her in the evening, Somu quietly stood behind and tapped the cow on her head with a stick. Startled and angry, the cow kicked Raman so hard that he fell straight into the mud. Raman shouted in pain, "Why didn't you feed her?" Somu replied calmly, "I took care of my part, the front. Maybe your part is hungry?" Raman was speechless, covered in mud and shame.
The next day, Somu placed the cot and blanket in the courtyard and poured water all over them until they were dripping wet. When night came, Raman arrived to use them. Somu smiled innocently and said, "Brother, it's your time now. The night is yours." Raman tried to sleep on the soaked cot, but the blanket was drenched and the floor beneath was cold and hard. Unable to bear it, he finally lay down on the floor, shivering the whole night without a blanket. Somu quietly watched from afar and smiled softly.
The next day, Somu called a woodcutter and said, "Please cut the lower part of my mango tree." As the man began chopping, Raman came running in panic. "Stop! You'll destroy my upper part." Somu looked at him and said gently, "I am only cutting my share, the lower part." In that moment, Raman finally understood. His cleverness had turned against him. He lowered his head and said, "Forgive me, Somu. I have been greedy and unfair. Father always taught us to live with love and fairness." Somu smiled kindly and said, "It's all right, brother. Father's friend helped me, but the real lesson was already in Father's words." From that day on, the two brothers shared everything equally. Raman changed his ways, and peace returned to their little home. Greed may seem clever, but it always ends in regret. Honesty and fairness bring true peace and happiness. Sometimes in life, we meet people like Raman, people who take advantage of our kindness, our silence, and our good heart. We stay quiet not because we are weak, but because we value peace more than arguments. But kindness doesn't mean letting others walk over us. There comes a time when we must help them realize their mistakes, not with anger, but with wisdom and patience, just like Somu did. Because true strength is not in shouting or revenge. It's in staying kind, staying wise, and letting life itself teach the right lesson.